Just a few months ago, we were reporting 100 to 120 new cases of COVID daily nationally. This morning, Wednesday, the CCSA reported a new high in cases, 16,533, only 202 of which were found in prisons. This, along with 133 new deaths exacerbated by the virus. The continued increase in numbers will, without doubt, see the CCSA and government looking at other ways to reduce so-called social interaction. As the Bangkok region reports higher vaccination rates and the numbers of serious cases of COVID levelling off, so the rest of the country is seeing increases. A lack of vaccine outside the capital areas, combined with the exodus of many workers in the capital to their homesteads, has contributed to the spread. In many rural regions, village headsmen and Puyai Ban have implemented their own quarantine regulations for visitors and even for those who leave for brief trips and then return. In the capital, as accommodation for those suffering from the virus becomes increasingly unavailable, unused railway sleeper carriages are being converted for use, along with vacant buildings and so-called pop-up, quick-build medical facilities. Self-test COVID kits are now easily available at major pharmacies around the country, along with many smaller ones too, and have been approved for use. Similar to those used in most Western countries, they give an indication as to whether someone has the virus, and anyone showing positive is recommended to consult medics quickly. Taking the test directly after contact with someone who has the virus is pointless. Giving it a few days is recommended. Phuket, the tourist trap for vaxpats and visitors, has seen an increase in local COVID cases this week, leading to several closures by the governor. With only 27 people in the so-called sandbox tourist group showing positive, the majority is within the local population. Despite stricter controls on those entering the island from within Thailand, it's seen as a little too late, as many travelled there from other regions in the hope of finding work. All provincial offices have been instructed to supply the Health Ministry with the number of frontline medical workers this week, as the supply of Pfizer vaccine given by the US is to be first allocated to those people as a booster shot, with the balance then being used for regular patients. Most medical workers received Sinovac shots, but with Sinovac proving to be less efficacious against the Indian or Delta variant, their protection is seen as key. In other news, preparation is underway as much as it can be for heavy storms that are predicted to affect some 22 provinces, with the warning of high waves and strong undercurrents along most shorelines, and the advisory that small boats remain in harbour. Flash floods and mudslides have already been reported this week in many regions, and the weather front is expected to affect the country for the remainder of the week and the weekend itself. Dried instant food packs shipped from Thailand have been seized by Hong Kong customs after officers there discovered that they contained some 150 pounds of heroin. Thailand's applied for full details of the container, and it's believed to have been shipped out from Laem Chabang on the eastern seaboard. Some respite for expats here who live on a pension from their home countries, as the Thai baht has become the worst-hit currency in Southeast Asia this year. The new pandemic, combined with production and export issues, hasn't helped. And of course, it's now blatantly obvious that the tourist industry, once considered by many as a minor source of income for the country, is in fact a major part of the whole. Add to that the so-called black economy, self-employed people whose lives depend on tourism but are not registered to pay taxes, and the economy isn't good for sure. Exchange rates then have favoured those bringing money into the country, and seen pensioners get a little boost to their monthly stipend. Meanwhile at home and in our own region, this morning the provincial offices announced 864 new cases, seeing the numbers rising here on a regular basis. Sriracha reported 300, Banglamung 212 and Chonburi City 104, with 10,493 people under medical care and 4 new deaths reported in the past 24 hours. Courts were awash with the unwashed yesterday, as those arrested at the Bamboo Club in Nuglua for drinking alcohol and ignoring the curfews, combined with a handful from the east side, faced their fate. Unlike the bamboo drinkers, the East Side group were not charged with drinking alcohol, but rather for meeting in a group larger than allowed and breaking other COVID controls. Their fines, we're told, were 7,500 baht, but for the business operator the fine and penalty was significantly higher. No word on the fines and punishment for the huge group arrested at the Bamboo Club as of this time. From those involved, we learned that most would not recommend copying their actions. The money aside, the fines, accommodation at police stations is not only cramped, we're told, but with the overload of people, so toilet facilities overflow. And with only a fan to cool them, the stench alone throughout the night was punishment enough for many. Arriving in Pattaya courts bedraggled and smelly, and after being tested for COVID, they faced glass barriers which protect the judges and court staff from any contact with defendants. Most were keen to plead guilty with no defence, settle their fines and get home to bathe. But if the number of people arrested exceeds the court's capacity to deal with them, then in many cases it can lead to a second night behind bars of a different kind than those in which they were arrested. And with the Met Office promising highs today of 32, dropping down to 27, and the prediction of storms at any time. Local and national news today from Fabulous 103 FM and Fabulous Pattaya Media Group. And to get a notification every time we release another bulletin or programme, like and subscribe to our channel, Fabulous Pattaya Media Group, by using the link below.